Well, hi folks, it's May now, 3rd of May to be precise, so time to start doing a bit more sowing a few more tender things like cucumbers, French beans, and a few more successional sowings of lettuce, spring onions and peas. So I'll just get on, show you how we do it, try and explain which varieties to use and why. So we'll just start off with the cucumber. I'm using a variety called Market More, which is quite a small variety. Produces reasonably sort of medium-sized cucumbers if you let them grow, but they're quite a compact plant, so they don't need lots of space, and they've always grown really well for me, and they will tolerate a little bit of cold. You can actually grow them outside in a good summer, so it's all good. See, I haven't grown the the big telegraph ones like that, because I just find them pointless because they're just too big, and I'd rather grow little ones where you can just eat maybe half of it at a time. So stick to these ones, and you get 160 seeds in a pack, because some of these F1 fancy cucumbers are really expensive, but these are fine. So I'm just going to plant these in little 3-inch pots. Now I always suggest that you plant any seed like this on its edge, but to be honest, that small are cucumber seeds. I don't think it makes that much difference. The thinking being is that when the shoot comes out, it's got less resistance to push the seed casing through the compost, but like I said, they're that small, these seeds, it won't really make that much difference. So I'm only going to grow 2 plants, so I'll just plant 4 pots, put 2 seeds in each, maybe about 1 centimetre deep, sort of double the depth of the seed. Because of that shape, it doesn't matter if you use as many as you like, so I'll just thin out to the strongest one once they germinate, and we'll just cover those up a touch. I've got a seed tray that's got a lumpy bottom, so even a quick little watering in. Now you could start these off in a propagator, but to be honest, with the weather being as warm as it's been, I'll probably just leave these on a sunny windowsill in a sort of cloche thing, just to keep a bit of moisture in, and they should be up in no time. So next job is to grow some climbing French beans, and if you've seen me before, then you'll know that the only one I ever grow is one called Cobra, or Cobra, depending on where you're from. They're a climbing French bean. They grow absolutely amazingly in the polytunnel, but they will grow not as well, but pretty good outside as well. And I only grow 6 plants. 6 plants will produce me maybe £30 of beans in a season, and then another £20 to freeze. So I'm not kidding you almost get about £10 per seed. They're ridiculous. They're a lovely bean. They don't go stringy. They don't go tough even when you let them go as long as that. I like to pick them about 6 inches, but you can let them grow as long as you like. There's no string in them, and they're never tough. So there's nothing I can say about them that's detrimental. So again with these, I'm just going to push 2 seeds in, maybe about 1 centimetre deep, into just some basic compost. These will hopefully be ready to go out about middle to 20th of May or something like that. As soon as you've got 2 decent leaves, then I'll plant them out, and we should have any frost that's forecast should have disappeared by then. Having said that, we haven't had the frost for weeks, so we've had some ridiculous weather in the UK. So again, just pushing those in. A packet of these seeds lasts me forever, really. I'm just going to cover those up, so they're about 1 centimetre deep. Just lightly cover them. A little bit of a watering in. Now you don't want to overwater beans and things like that, because sometimes they can tend to rot, so they just need a slight bit of moisture to germinate. As I've just sprayed all my cucumber seeds with water, so just a bit like that will be fine. So that's the tender stuff out of the way. So again, I'm going to keep growing some more lettuces and some more spring onions, some lamb cress. So we've got can again. We've got white Lisbon spring onions, so that's can. Some record, which is a crispy leaf. My final, sadly, multigrain, because they've discontinued those. I think I've got about 10 seeds left, so that'll probably be the last time I ever grow those. Veg, which I'm hoping is a replacement for multigrain. This is a pelleted seed. I've got 100% germination with those. Quite expensive, but they still only work out about 10p each. My Paris Island Cos, which is a big cos lettuce as opposed to a little germ, and then I'm trying some of this landcress again, because by all accounts it does tend to go to seed quite quickly, so if I can keep successionally sowing it, it's a bit of a tongue twister, then we should keep on top of it. If it goes to seed, I can just pull it up and just keep growing some fresh stuff all the time. So again, no big secret with this. I've just got my little 40 cell modules, and because I'm growing so many, what I usually do, I usually grow 10 of each, which is pointless because then I'll end up with 60 lettuces. So I'm just growing 5 of each this time, which will leave me with 30 plants, so I can choose about 20 of those. So with this little gem, with this cos, again you get thousands of seeds. So you get it in the right one, so there's no need to be picky. 3 or 4 seeds in each one. If they all germinate, just thin to the strongest one, because you can guarantee if you only plant 1 seed, they won't germinate. But then again, if you plant 6, all 6 seem to germinate, so that's just sod's law. Right, make sure I do that. And again, I'm just going to cover these up dead shallow. I'll show you these Veg seeds. I've got some growing. They're called a coral type lettuce of all types, which is like highly dissected leaves, quite spiky leaves, but they look like a really good variety. Like I said, I only got 20 seeds I think, and I planted about 8 last time, so I'm just going to plant 5 of these. Where are they? So you get big seeds like that, coated with something, I've no idea what. They said they're not treated, but like I said, I got 100% germination because I think they're a commercial variety, so they don't want any misfires in the field, so that's why they'll probably be getting on for 100% germination. That couldn't be easier, no messing about with those because they're quite a big seed. Again, just going to cover those up lightly. Can. Now this is a sort of crispy lettuce in a loose leaf form, if you will. So it's got like loose leaves, but they've got like the texture of an iceberg. So it's like a cross between the two. So it's quite a different texture to normal, and it's quite a different, like I said, different lettuce to most texture-wise. Oop, put about 10 in that one. So again, just 2 or 3 or 4 seeds, or 10 in that one, like I've just done. And then the last one is my multigrain. Let's see how many of these we've got left. This could be a sad day, this. It's been discontinued, my favourite lettuce for many years. And people have said, why don't you take some seed from a plant of your own? But the thing is, because they're an F1 hybrid, they don't tend to come true to seed. So because they're a cross between 2 different varieties, if you take seed from that, then it can be either one parent or the other. So you might get God knows what. It might be a completely different sort. It may not be, but I might try it anyway. Well, I might get 2 sowings out of this, so I'm just going to put 2 seeds of these in. Always happens, you find a really good variety and then for some reason they discontinue it, and then you have to look for another one. So that's the multigrain. I would highly recommend it, but I can't because they don't sell it anymore. So that's a few of those done. Again, just a light watering. For some reason lettuce don't particularly like germinating in very high temperatures, so I would suggest you germinating them out of the direct sun if you're going to do it in a greenhouse, because for some reason they don't seem to like it. So somewhere warmish, but not boiling hot. And then finally I've got some more lettuce to put in. I'll put these spring onions in, which are white Lisbon, which have been really poor germination this year, so I'm going to chuck about 10 in each one and see if that works, because I've been getting complete blanks. So this seed is quite old, it's not out of date, but I would usually put about 4 to 5 or maybe 6 seeds in each module, then I could plant the whole lot out, and then when you grow it in a bunch, and then you can just pull the whole bunch up, so you've got like a bunch of spring onions in one go. So you can guarantee now that all these will come up, won't they, with about 20 in each. So anyway, we'll see. So I've put in loads in, like I said, they have been quite poor germinators, in fact very poor, but I've still got millions of those red spring onions growing. I went overboard with those, so again, just going to cover these up somewhere nice and warm, but not red hot, to germinate, and then we'll see how we get on. So that's those done. I've still got a couple of lettuce to do, and then finally my last lot of peas, which I'm always sowing the gutters. I'm growing about a 10-foot row again, so I'll just show you how we do it with this little short row. So again, my favourite variety, Hurst green shaft. Get about 12 peas in a pod. Always been good for me, never had any problems with them whatsoever. Excuse me, and they're just always so prolific and reliable. So what I've done with this gutter is just filled it up to within about 1 inch of the top, and then all I'm going to do with this is just sprinkle these on willy-nilly, so they're about maybe 1 inch apart. Don't measure them out, none of this planting 2 inches apart in fives like a dice. Get loads in. The more you get, the more plants you get, the more peas you get, as far as I'm concerned. At least if you get too much germination, you can pull them out, but if you don't get enough germination, then you're stuffed. So that's that. And then couldn't be easier. Just gonna roughly chuck some more compost over the top. Give these a watering in, leave them somewhere nice and warm, and these should be up in about within a week, I would imagine. And the last ones I grew were up within a week, and I'd planted them out within about 3. So it really does get them out, get them growing quickly, and it stops them getting eaten by mice before they germinate. Excuse me, indigestion. So that's that done. And I can just make a trench, slide bits of it out, and they'll grow away nicely in the bed. So anyway folks, that's it. That's my May plantings. Other things you can plant at this time of year, I'm trying to think really. You can plant more beetroot if you like things like that, courgettes, marrows, things like that, but I don't grow things like that anymore. I don't grow courgettes because I just got sick of them, so I'll just stick to what I'm doing, and that's my second sowing of the year. So that's about it folks. See you later.